I'm going to start this video with a somewhat provocative title. No one wants to read technical writing. What this means as a technical writer is that you're going to have to make it so that the person who's having to read your document gets the information they need as quickly as possible. Technical writing is not fiction writing, and it isn't pleasure reading. We might have 1,000-page manuals, and no one really wants to sit down with one of those and just read it cover to cover. They probably have a very specific question in mind that they want answered using your technical writing. So rather than surfing through 1,000 pages until I find the right answer, I'll look it up in a table of contents, perhaps an index, find exactly the right page, exactly the right paragraph, and go. If you keep this in mind, the idea that no one really wants to read what you write, so much as they want to know what you know, you'll be able to organize your technical writing in a much better way. The number one rule of technical writing, therefore, is to make it easy to find and understand the information that you need. Think of it this way. If you are taking a huge technical document, the reason you're doing that is because probably there's a very complex decision to be made, or a lot of very complex techniques that you need to understand a particular piece of equipment. If I'm a beginner in this, I might want a background section. If I'm not a beginner, I might want to find a very specific part of that document and be able to read it as quickly as I can. Making it easy to understand the information means that we follow simply common formats. We write simply, and we make it so that the person who's reading it knows what to expect. We're going to explore these topics in different videos. The first is all about organization. Organization of the document, making it logical, and using Microsoft Word to reflect that organization and communicate it to the reader. Next, we're going to talk about common sections and formats, what goes into what and why. Using common formats is important because the person reading it will expect your, for example, manual to follow certain common tropes. For instance, there should be an introduction telling me all about the device in general, maybe a background section if I don't have all the information, and then specific chapters on specific functionality. If we were to ignore that, for example, if we were to just write different functionality all over the place in not a very well organized way, the person reading your technical manual might not have a clue how to find the information they want. You always want a table of contents, figures, and tables. I put this into a separate video, not so much because the concepts are confusing, but because making Microsoft Word make one in an appropriate way is actually more complicated than it sounds. We'll talk all about how to make Microsoft Word insert these important things into your document. We're then going to talk about presenting information appropriately. This involves the use of images, tables, and text, so that what can be communicated quickly can be communicated in the appropriate format. It is always said that a picture says 1,000 words. If you can reduce the amount of text and make it so that the reader's eye is drawn exactly to the point of the image they need to get their job done, you've done a good job. Finally, we're going to talk about clarity. Clarity involves word choice and sentence and paragraph structure. You want to make 100% sure that everything you do in your technical writing makes a lot of sense to the person who's reading it. In order to do that, you don't want to obscure your meaning behind very complicated words or incorrect sentence structure.